and welcome to this pre-budget episode of Personal Finance Special, where today we'll be talking about budget expectation from the insurance sector and budget expectation or demands from a policyholder's perspective. We'll be having a great panel talking about all the nitty-gritties and their expectations from the finance minister. And later up in the show, we'll be talking to Nilesh Shah about not only his sector-specific demands, but also how will the market look at the budget. So a great lineup of content coming up, but let's begin with the insurance sector demands. And insurance firms have been expecting various tax exemptions from the central government in the upcoming union budget to improve the appeal and accessibility of insurance products, encouraging wider adoption across the country. Now, insurers specializing in life coverage are advocating for tax relief on annuities and a reduction in the GST, applied to their other offerings. The sector is also optimistic that the government will revise the current tax framework to incorporate exemptions for the life insurance product. Now, presently, the new tax system does not provide any exemptions for these products, unlike Section 80C under the old tax regime. So, let's deep dive and let's understand that what a policy holder should be expecting and what are the industry demands. And let's welcome Easwara Narayanan, Chief Operating Officer, Govt General Insurance. Easwara, good evening and welcome to this very special edition on pre-budget and specifically talking about insurance sector. Knowing the kind of expectation the sector has, be it and the kind of run-up the sector has actually seen, be it from the market's point of view, the regulator's point of view, and even from the government point of view, there has been a lot of thrust in, rationalizing and getting parity across products and across offerings. But despite that, there are concerns. Okay, there are concerns on product of affordability. There are concerns on tax changes. There are concerns on, high treatment cost. What all do you expect to be announced on these lines, because these things are not only hurting the industry, but also pinching the policyholders' pocket?
So thank you for this opportunity. It's a very good point that you have raised. Actually, I must tell you that we can expect certain things from the government, but certainly not everything. So as a precursor to even this, the regulator, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, has already taken the first few steps, particularly in the field of health insurance, which is of utmost focus, for the country and for all, probably internationally too. That is a sought after segment of insurance. So one of the first steps which IRDA, the regulator, has taken is to ensure that customers' expectations are set right, policy conditions are made simpler, free of ambiguity, so that insurers cannot probably cite any reason for customers can know why their claims are not being paid or how their claims will be paid, under what circumstances. The so-called fine print doesn't operate anymore. There is absolute clarity as between the insurer and the insured as to what is to be expected in a policy. The second important initiative the regulator has done is to announce cashless anyway, because health insurance is good enough unless it's cashless. Mere health insurance is only a 50% solution, but people need to get it cashless. Otherwise, paying money out of the pocket and getting reimbursement is a difficult job. And you said yes about healthcare costs, how to bring down healthcare costs. This is another area where the regulator has taken the initiatives and have, taken an initiative in terms of asking the General Insurance Council, a body of insurers, to come on a common platform and to negotiate with hospitals optimal rates, which are, which would be viable for the hospitals and affordable for the patients. At the end of the day, healthcare costs have to come down, which is when premium can also come down. So this is one thing which the regulator has already taken steps. Yes, from the government, we have expectations. Health sector is somewhere where the government has to invest. Probably it's not an expenditure or loss, but an investment. So one expectation has been that for quite some time is the relief on GST and a little more of tax exemption. Right now it's about 50,000 rupees, which was set quite some time back, 60,000 when there was a senior citizen. It's time that these are revised because the premiums have gone up, healthcare costs have gone up. And Secondly, apart from tax exemption, the GST reduction, either GST reduction or relief. I personally feel, and the industry also feels, that an investment, it would be a worthwhile investment, waiving of GST at least for a period of 5 years, since it's till it stabilizes. The government has done a wonderful job in terms of popularizing insurance, particularly health insurance, through its various schemes. It's created an awareness at the lowest rate of the society as well. But now the task, the challenge is to scale it up across segments, various segments of the population. Whereas the government
Sure.
schemes themselves have to reach the targeted population. The other segments of the
Right.
population also have to derive benefit out of this.
All right, all right. Let's have Mahavir Chopra, founder Beshak.org Insurance, also in this discussion. And Mahavir, as we all know, that in this budget the focus will also be on the lower end of the pyramid, having facilitating insurance to that particular lower end of the pyramid. How according to you the government should be able to do this? And also because we've had a conversation a lot of times on this particular topic, parity in hospital charges, this has been a long pending demand and a concern. It's also a concern for the regulator. It's also a concern for the sector, for people like you and me who are policy holders as well. So what all should be done as an initiating step? We cannot expect a complete change in the very first step that the government might want to take, but then what should be an initiating step towards this particular thing also?
Right. So the first point is about covering, the bottom of the pyramid. I think Ayushman Bharat has done a great job at least initiating that for the last quite a number of years, right? But what I hear on ground from a lot of people, and when I interact with people, is that the actual execution of this is still to be smoothened, and a lot of private hospitals do not really entertain this Ayushman scheme well, right? So I hope there are enough steps taken. It's a great scheme. It gives a 5 lakh cover to a family who is at the lower end of the pyramid specifically. And if it is better accessible, it's basically available, and the execution and the entire basically the seamlessness of that is basically brought into picture and solved for. I think that is one thing that I keep hearing on forums and our own forum that we run at Beshak. The other thing that you asked is I think somehow needs to be the theme of all discussions that happen around healthcare is getting pricing regulated under healthcare, right? I think the root cause of basically health insurance premiums increasing and senior citizens basically finding it unaffordable, and then also talking about GST, becoming very unaffordable because it's again going to be a percentage of the premium, is all basically the base of all this is basically the healthcare costs that have increased, right? And they have significantly increased after COVID. And this is something which has caused a lot of huge dent in the pocket of people who have insurance because they have to pay higher premiums or who are paying from their pocket. I think an initiation on dialogue and basically bringing some clarity on how this is going to get executed, because Supreme Court has very recently also mentioned this in a judgment, saying that this needs to be executed very quickly, and it has been a discussion point for a long period of time. It's high time that this becomes a very important point of discussion and initiate basically a discussion between state governments and the central government to actually start executing this scheme and the entire regulation over every state, that basically through every state basically. Yeah.
Easwara, now looking at the other end, there's also been demand, or at least what we're hearing is, introduction of financial support or tax benefits for extensive insurance on EVs. Do you think that can be on radar, looking at so much of thrust on EVs that's going on? We are yet to cover and talk about motor insurance and other aspect of insurance also. But when you talk about motor insurance, do you think this also can be a crucial aspect or topic to cover? The kind of coverage that we should be seeing in future? Easwara, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sure.
Yes, that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
again a very relevant topic. So EV, there are, provisions as it is encouraging investment in EV and purchase of EV vehicles. And as a sector, insurance is ready with the products to cover EV. We are covering electronic, these all these EV vehicles, and we are coming to grips with the kind of risk they are exposed to, which are a bit different from the normal vehicles. But the adaptation is pretty easy, smooth. But having said that, yes, government investment into insurance in terms of concessions would certainly help because it would be one more step towards eco-friendliness.
All right. Mahavir, do you also think that there should be more focus or advantages on cyber insurance, particularly for small and medium businesses to enhance their ability to withstand cyber risk and data breaches? Do you think there should be more focus and more trust, not only from the government side, but also the stakeholders, which obviously will get a push once something of this nature is highlighted in the budget? What do you think?
Right. So it is become cyber is become a lifestyle thing, right? Meaning everybody is now connected to cyber from a very from the lowest of the pyramid people to a senior citizen. Everybody is connected. So definitely it has become a topic of discussion, and risk every day is increasing. We are listening, we do talk about it, and we do hear a lot about the risks involved in it, and events have also grown, right? So from that perspective, yes, whatever can be done to increase awareness, whatever can be done to reduce probably costs for the customer to find it more attractive, whatever can be done to integrate it with other products which are already available, like a credit card or let's say with a smartphone, all those things basically should be brought into picture to solve for basically this risk and the exposure to this risk.
Easwara, while you were talking about GST and other aspects of taxation, what about waiving GST for senior citizen, physically disabled individuals and other disease-specific categories? Do you think it is too naive to expect that, or do you think we have reached that stage where we should be considering this? I mean, senior citizen being a larger part of this demand, definitely. Easwara?
Yes,
Yeah.
senior
Yeah.
citizens tax exemption may not be very relevant or attractive for them at this stage because many of them, if not most of them, may not be within high tax brackets. But GST, yes, would certainly be a relief. But I would suggest at this rate, at this stage, that GST exemption must be seen across segments. For the simple reason that there has to be some kind of incentive to invest in health insurance at every stage. And till such time as health insurance premiums are pegged. And as I explained earlier, this pegging is happening through managing healthcare costs. Healthcare costs are going up, but as my fellow panelists pointed out very rightly, one way of tackling the situation is by bringing about an element of uniformity amongst hospital pricing, for which insurance industry has already taken the initiative big time. It's a very organized initiative, and I'm sure in a year or two from now, it will pay very rich dividends in terms of optimizing cost and optimizing mode of treatment, optimizing the duration of hospitalization, the kind of treatment that is going to be delivered, etc. And in fact, there are steps ahead to capture the entire gamut of health insurance in one platform. So as that is happening, there'll be more data available. And when more data is available, steps can be taken in the right direction to optimize costs.
Mahavir, your view on the way senior citizens coverage should be handled now going ahead?
Right. So there are two aspects to this. There are senior citizens who are already covered and they are renewing their policies. For them, the burden of the increased premium because of there being no regulation on healthcare has been a major point of discussion. And we've heard so many senior citizens who have talked about or exploring that they drop off from a policy because they're finding it too difficult to renew. Like if a senior citizen has to pay 75,000 rupees a year for renewing a 4 lakh sum insured health insurance, it becomes super difficult for a person to be able to pay that kind of premium. Plus, if there is GST on that, it becomes even more difficult. So definitely, solving for GST is going to be very, very important if we want our senior citizens to be protected through a personal health insurance. The second part is basically senior citizens who are not covered today, right? And people who have probably a disease and let's say multiple morbidities, and they are not getting a cover today, is also becoming a very large population who's not today basically covered either through health insurance, and neither do they have any kind of other cover through the government, right? In those cases, my suggestion has been that for this specific
Right.
population, there should be a way
Right.
by which insurers are incentivized to cover them and
Exactly.
not kept it open like the way it is today.
All right, so in a nutshell, we have our list ready, the demand is ready, and we all are looking at some kind of a relief also to boost the sector and achieve the insurance for all target by 2047. Thank you so much, both of you, for being on the show and for helping our viewers understand this matter.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.